Let's continue our chapter 2, management today. Let's talk about the evolution of management. I would skip this very first one because the Asian management, when we talk about Asian management, the reason you're curious why you say it's not management. They are not focusing on the efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity. The reason is simple. The size of the operation. Very likely, let's say that the family-based, right? They are limited themselves into a very small region, right? Like the location, and then they only focus on one commodity. Let's say that the agricultural production. When we start to talk about the management, or we call this contemporary or modern management, since the Industrial Revolution. When we talk about agribusiness, the development of agribusiness, right? The infrastructure, the railroad, right? The energy, the first industrial revolution, the second industrial revolution. So makes productivity grows, right? Quickly. The size of the factory increased quickly. The number of employees increased quickly. Those owners, they started to focus on the efficiency, effectiveness. I studied economics, I teach economics. This is a very important milestone for economics. Adam Smith, right? I think everyone knows that. The series since this Industrial Revolution. Microeconomics, more specifically, involved into management. Management actually is the application of some economics, theory. Okay, it doesn't matter, right? Agribusiness or other business. Let's start to discuss some important, stuff. When I saw this is important, very likely you will have homework question in the exam. Okay, I try to send the signal every time. The classical school of management is developing together with this economic growth. So they have this scientific. The first one is the scientific management. Okay. The second one is the administrative management. In my opinion, those two are focused on the efficiency, right? Productivity. They are not really focusing on people development or human resource. How to get things done more efficiently, effective. They tried to focus on thing, all right, the process, but ignored, let's say, the role of individual. Okay, no motivation. Now people just labor, don't care about the individuals. Okay, so this is the weakness. So let's take a very quick look at this scientific management. Simply speaking, they focus on a certain job, a process, one step, right? And then they do the research, try to increase the productivity, and they started to train the employee, train the staff to learn how to do that job. They started to use that, let's say, to implement that, teach or train all other employees to do the same job. All right, this is more like focus on the process. And then if we talk about the administrative management, administration, what do you think? Okay, the structure. All right, how we can arrange those functions, those different positions, and then to make things done quickly, to have the job done. For example, on the assembly lines, you are the first one, you are the second one, you are the third one. Bureaucracy, right? Bureaucracy is like for the organizations. They are more focused on this technical. For those two, let's say, series, one is the scientific management theory, right? The second is administrative management theory. Those are the classical. In my opinion, once we talk about the classical, we mean the older one, the second school, right? Behavioral school, they started to focus on the human element. So there are like a very famous, like the Hawthorne studies in 1920, 100 years ago. Okay, so the study is more like they try to assess the individual. So they test the experiments, including like change the lights, okay, the color of the lights, the brightness of lights. And then they think all these workers are financially driven. That the result tells us like people have different let's say ability or capability, right? Someone can do more, someone can do less, no matter how much money you give them. And then later on, studying like the assembly line, the productivity along the sub-assembly, and then they realize like they assign the people specialize in one certain step, and then the productivity can increase dramatically. Actually, they are studying human element. This is so-called the human relation model. There are two famous ones. One is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the Maslow's pyramid. So there's a video talk about that. Since we will mention that later, you just keep that in mind. All right, let me draw this pyramid. The bottom can be the food, right, security, and then the later on will be the social, let's say social relationship, right, and then the top one will be that the like self-actualization, right, self-realization. McGregor's theory X and then theory Y. Simply speaking, theory X thinks people are very passive, okay? They don't like work. They're kind of lazy, all right? They need the pressure, right? So they need to somehow push. They needed the push, okay? But theory Y, they're talking about the opposite. People are like they do not dislike work, okay? They only need some motivation. And then people, they can somehow, behave themselves. So in my opinion, theory X is more negative, theory Y is more positive regarding the human or the individuals. So those are like the foundation of the human resource approach, or we call human resource theory. Later on, we talk about like how important human resource individuals are. We know that we have different, let's say, preference, different needs, right? We have different, let's say that perceptions. So we need a different approach. We need a different reward to be motivated. This is the development of the behavioral school. Personally, I like this very much. This makes sense. We will talk about human resource. We will talk about the leadership motivation. This is another school. They call this is a quantitative school. Once you see quantitative school, you already think about number, right? Mathematics, statistics. We collect the information, demand and supply, right? We know that the price, we know the quantity, and then we try to use this so-called quantitative to help us to make the management decision. Management science, this is the theory. For example, like how we can make an optimized decision, production decision. But the operation management, this is an application of the management science. They will say like a management department, they call themselves as the MS, management science, and the OM, the operation management. Those are more focused on that, how we can use this theory, those techniques to help us efficiently, effectively manage our process, okay? Transform the resource to the end product. And then in addition, regarding this, when talk about the quantitative school, nowadays they talk about the management information system. Information system, I have a little different opinion, but I think it's okay to put it into this quantitative school. This can be another branch when we talk about the information, when we talk about management. Information system, nowadays we all have the computer. We all needed the information because while we have the data, we have the information. We needed the information system to store those data, retrieve those information, and analyze, help us to make the decision. Data analyst, business analyst. As the manager, you are the one, based upon those information, make your decision. The knowledge or the skill to analyze, evaluate, right? Make some recommendations, and then like trying to convince your board members. Summarize. Make the abstract. They cannot show the whole table. They needed to interpret it, summarize the key points. We call this executive summary.